Hey, this is TJ from tjontheroad.com. Right here, I got the brand new Korg Wavestate. Awesome wave sequencing synthesizer. Let's check it out. Okay, so we're here with the Korg Wavestate. It's a wonderful little keyboard. It has 3 octaves. It has plenty of onboard hands-on controls. What we're going to do today is we're going to take a sound that I created. We're going to edit it. We're going to look through it, see how it was made, and just give you an idea of the general sound design, how it's built on the Wavestate, and also give you a general idea of the general workflow on the Wavestate. So this is the sound. It's a nice little pad. Okay, just a nice little pad that was built from using different square wave samples from different synthesizers that are all built right here into the Wavestate. So let's take a first look at it, and you'll see some of the structure of the Wavestate. You have here 4 layers, okay, and you have your utility section for your perform utilities, your mods, your writing of the patches, and your page buttons. Okay, then you have your wave lanes. There are 7 wave lanes: the master, the timing, the sample, the pitch, the shape, the gate, and the step sequence. Okay, these are your live control knobs. Okay, these here are for controlling selecting the set lists, or you can select the individual steps within the sequence of the Wavestate that we'll talk about in a little bit. So with this given preset that I made, it has 2 layers, okay? And 2 layers are active, layer A, layer B. Each layer has its own set of sequences. So layer A is the main one. Okay, and what we'd first look at here in the screen is you'll have a master, a sample, a pitch, shape, gate, and step sequence. Now what we use here for this given one is a little more simple. Just try to keep it that way. The timing lane as well as the sample lane, okay? And we also use a little bit of the shape lane. So with the timing lane, if we go into here, now you want to press what the first one is. That's the first step in the sequence. Okay, the timing lane was 8 steps. So you'll see you can push through here and you'll get to the 8 different steps. Now the timing lane is to set the timing for each individual steps. They can have each of their own time within that. And it can be modified using an LFO or other modifier. You can modify the duration or set the duration in the screen here. Now with this one, I have it a little bit varied just to give the timing of the sequence a little bit of a slightly different flow. With the duration of the first step, it's at a quarter. With the second, it is at a triplet. Back to the quarter as we go, then back to the triplet, and then back to the triplet. So I wanted to give the feel of the sequence a little bit of a different feel, so it wouldn't just sound so regular and straight on. That's one of the great things about the Wavestate 2.0. It's not nearly as stiff sounding as the older Wavestation. Let's go into the sampling. Okay. Now you'll see here, there's pages. There's 3 different pages. Okay. And this also has 8 sequence steps in this given sample lane. 1 through 8 too. So each one of those has their own page. so that you can make individual parameter changes for them. And then each one of them will have their own 3 setup pages. You can either just click through that to get through all of them, or you can use the shift page button to go through them. Okay. So here is where you select the type of wave. As I said, I had the square wave associated with that. Okay. But you can select all these different types of square waves. These are samples of all different synthesizers. Okay. This is an Oberlin. Okay. The MX12, the MG, all different types of square waves that are associated with this. The 2600. Alright, so we're going to stick with that one. Okay. Now if you look through, each one of these square waves is different that I selected from the different samples. So as it sequences through there, and you'll see that on the main screen, it sequences through the different samples. It's going to give a different square wave for each of the different points of when I hold the key down. Now if we go back to the timing, okay, and we look at the steps there, the timing also has the ability to control the crossfade between the 2 different steps. And you can do that either on a tempo sync indication, or you can just do it on a certain number of seconds or milliseconds. You'll see here, it'll crossfade with the tempo that you have already set. Or you can just turn that off if you want a hard to change. Okay, so let's go back to the samples though. And I'm going to go to the end page. Okay. Now here you can actually add samples. You can take them away. You can paste new ones from the other steps over. You can insert steps. You can add steps to the end. All right. Now the other thing that we use in this is the shape tool. And the shape tool allows you to shape the contours between the 2 different steps. So we'll come over here and you'll see it's very much like an envelope or an LFO. And I've shaped them slightly different for the first one of that step. Now this one only has 5 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because again, if you come back to the beginning, you'll see this only has 5 steps. So it will regularly come to the first step, which will have that different shape as opposed to the other ones. And you can see it in the screen here. Okay. And another thing that you'll also see as this went through is that the loop mode says whether or not it's going to go forward and reverse, or it's just going to go back and forth. Okay. Now you can also do something with this. If I wanted to go to the sample lane, okay, and I wanted it to start, say, the first 4 steps to play through, but the last 4 I want them to loop. So you can do that by just taking the knobs here. You take the start point of the loop and you move that over, it'll walk through that and then it'll start looping. And I can change that in real time. Go back. So that's a subtle difference on this given patch. but it can make a drastic change for other types of rhythmic things that you want to do, and it can make a drastic change for all kinds of different situations. All right, so for the layer B, what I had done is I made the timing lane a little bit longer, okay, at 16 steps, and I made the sample lane a little bit shorter. But I kept the same types of square waves you'll see here with the sample lane. It's the same types of square waves from the selections, but there's only 5 of them instead of 8. And I changed the timing lane to be longer. The whole reason why I did that, you'll see it here, is so that when this layer plays, it plays at a little bit of an offset to the layer A. So when layer B plays this longer timing, but with the shorter set of samples, it's going to play back at an offset to layer A that has a shorter level of timing, okay, but more samples. And we're going to A-B these two ones, and you can do that by holding the shift button, okay, and you can turn B off or any of the other ones off, and this is just the A layer. Now, if you want just a B layer, so there's a bit of a difference between the two, and when you combine them, you get that nice, warm crossing fading between the two. Okay, so each layer has its own set of filters, its own set of envelopes, and its own set of LFOs, as well as its own set of effects. So that allows you to really take control of each layer in terms of building one very large sound, or if you want to make something that has different parts associated with it, say splitting the keyboard, it also allows you to do that. It is 4-part multi-timbral. So with this layer A, if you want to start working with the filter, you have different filter types already here, so you can just select what filter type you want, push the button, okay, and it automatically opens the filter page. And then you can change the cutoff, you can change the resonance, okay, you can change with the shift, okay, you can change the key track, okay, that'll take you to another page, and you can change the envelope amount and how much the LFO is going to affect it, as well as the keyboard velocity to the envelope. And that takes us to the envelope section. There's 4 different envelopes, one for filter, one for amp, one for pitch, and one for the vector control section. Okay, if you want to vector between the different layers, this will allow you to do that with the joystick, or you can use an envelope to do that. Now with this given patch, it has a nice little slow curve to come in on both the filter as well as the amp. And we're using the Poly 6 filter for this. Alright, and then you can go to the LFOs. You can create your own LFO for the filter, the amp, the pitch, and the panning, and you can tempo sync them. For this given patch, I've used all of them there, and they're generally just trying to keep something simple, okay? Just to give it a nice washy sound. And then you have your own set for layer B. Again, now for layer B, I'm using the MS-20 filter, and it has a slightly different setup there for the envelopes, as well as for the filter LFO. Slightly different curve there. And then you move over to the effects. Each effect will have its own settings for each given layer. Here I'm using a little bit of tremolo, and some chorus, some delay, and then some reverb. For the layer A, I'm using a little bit of graphic EQ, trying to bounce up the lows a little bit. And again, some chorus, delay, and reverb. All right, so what we're going to do with this pad is I'm going to create another layer on it. So we're going to go to layer C. All right, and I'm going to turn off these other ones. Okay, so now with layer C, I want to show you the workflow. All right, so first thing you probably want to do is set the timing. All right, so if I go in here and I look at the first page, oops, okay, go to that, there we go. All right, by default, it gives you 2 steps, step 1, step 2. Okay, but I want more than that. I want to go and I want to create a few more steps. All right, so I'm going to go and I'm going to say I want to add some steps to the end. And again, let's get this a little regular amount. Let's say we're going to add 4 steps, so it'll be a total of 5. Enter that. So now that we have 5 steps in the timing lane, come back to the beginning here. Okay. And then you'll see here this tempo light. Okay. We want to get that on so it matches the tempo. All right. And then now all your timing indications are going to be in note data. So here is a quarter. We're going to play with it a little bit, each different step. Oops. Okay, so now if we go over here and we look at the timing, you're going to have 5 steps. And we're going to go into the samples. Okay, now here there's only 2 samples going on. All right, and we need to go into the samples. And again, by default, you'll see it gives you 2 steps. Step 1, step 2. I want more than that though. I like to have lots of those. So let's just add a couple more. So we change that there. Add steps to the end. Add step to the end. And we hit enter and we added steps. Okay. Page over. Now you'll see one thing with the Wavestate. There's a lot of button pushing and paging and stuff to get to where you want to be. So right now the default is a sine wave. We're going to go back to these square waves. Say square 2600. Okay, enter. And I'm going to change them on each one. Oops, enter. For step 3. Enter. For step 4. Enter. And okay, so we have 4 steps there. All right. Back to here and see what that looks like. All right, now one of the things you have to do is you have to set the length, the loop length, and so forth. All right, so for that as well, the sample lane as well as the timing lane. So let's see what that sounds like just by itself. So you see that has an irregular timing. now we want to go into the filter. We're going to give it a little bit more of that. So let's go with the Poly 6. Cut that off here. See what that sounds like. A little bit of resonance. We want to get the envelope involved. Okay, maybe a little bit of LFO in there. All right, let's go to here. Let's see, we'll match the tempo on that one. And you want to add it in there. All right, just something here, and we could add it on a set of effects as well. Let's see again, we'll start a little with some tremolo. Enter there. And smooth tremolo. We have all different types. I'll give it a little bit of a pulse. And again, we'll put the chorus in there. Super chorus, that works. Okay. And some delay. Enter. So that's how you create a layer. Now if we want to add that back in to the others, let's see how that sounds. So that sounds really nice. You can make some very simple, sounds with this that modulate in different ways. So this was just a quick video on the Wavestate, some of the workflow, some sound design ideas. I just got this in recently, so I'm looking it over and I'm going to need to work on it to get some more sounds out of it. My first impressions of it are it sounds great. My feeling in regards to programming it does take a lot of button pushing to get things going, to move around the workflow. You have all these different availabilities, which means a lot of additional work to get it going to what you want to do. You have to get each individual layer going. So each layer, you're setting each of the lanes with each individual step. Okay, and then you're paging, through all the different parameters to get there. It can be a little tedious and time-consuming to get to a complete sound, but it's worth experimenting over time. If you can get your workflow to be fast enough, you can really create a lot of cool stuff with this. Well, hey, that's it. It's the Korg Wavestate Wave Scanning Synthesizer. Thanks so much for checking out this video. Please do subscribe to this channel and check out tjontheroad.com for more. And thank you so much for watching.